Hi, welcome to Cerebral Arcade. I'm Stacy, and today we're going to be playing a really heavy game. Um, so yeah, this game is. Hi, Jeffrey. How's your Friday going? Yeah, it is a day with a period at the end. Okay, Jeffrey, I don't know your age and want to make any presumptions. Um, but a period at the end, like for people my generation and younger, it's not just a grammatical thing, it's like an emphasis thing. So, uh, yes, that is some strong punctuation. Um, yeah, so I also am going to be, I think I mentioned last stream, I'm going to be moving, a pretty big move in a couple of weeks. So things also are extremely hectic for me. Um, I am currently packing, so my house is in complete disarray, and that stresses me out a lot. Um, and yeah, this game that we're going to be playing today also features packing. So that'll be kind of some interesting symmetry there. But I um, have not had the experience that my understanding of this game uh, is. I have not had that direct experience. So this will be an interesting one. We're going to be playing Last Call today, which is an IGF nominated indie game from Nina Freeman. So, Nina Freeman is the game designer behind such incredible games as Civil and How Do You Do It? And she does a lot of really amazing indie games that are very personal to her and very autobiographical. And she is really good at imbuing the emotions of a particular experience into the kinds of interactions that players do. So I think this game is going to be really interesting from a narrative design perspective. Um, but I have been putting off playing it a little bit because it's a game about packing up and healing from a domestic violence situation. And that's really heavy. Like I said, I have not been in the kind of situation that is depicted in this game. But, you know, we all have our own traumas from childhood and things. And so there is a possibility this game might hit nerves for me. I might cry this stream. Like, we'll see how it goes. For me, I'm not super embarrassed to cry on stream. I don't know if it's I think I've teared up before at certain games we've played. Um, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't know. It could be a really heavy one. So that's why I kind of just wanted to like take a moment, center ourselves before we dive in, just kind of have a nice like, you know, connection with our presence in the current physical world and what have you. Also, I'm drinking a bourbon, what was it? Bourbon peach flavored kombucha. So that's really delicious, and I did want to share that. It's from a company called Good Vibrations. I think it's like lightly alcoholic, but not like heavily alcoholic. Um, but it's I don't know. It feels like the appropriate drink for this game for some reason. Um, Also, just to give you guys an update on our emotes, I'm so excited. They're looking so good. They're almost done. Got some ginger beer with brandy. That sounds amazing. Cheers, Jeffrey. Oh, yeah. So, one of our new emotes is a little cheers emote with two wine glasses. I'm so excited, you guys. Like, oh, I'm really really jazzed for the new emotes. They're almost done. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to squeeze in a stream next week. If I do, it'll be like a serendipitous stream kind of situation. But if I can, I might just to see the new emotes. Brandito, how are you? Welcome. Cheers to you, Brandito. We were just talking about what we're all getting up to on this Friday happy hour. I'm drinking a Really tasty peach kombucha. Okay, so I think we're gonna go ahead and dive in. Like I said, this one's gonna be a little bit heavier. Um, and yeah, we'll kind of probably adjust audio settings as we go. And yeah, let's see what we've got. So it was able to find the game earlier. Hopefully, it can find it again. Let me see. Yeah, it's one of those things streaming indie games. There's like always the possibility that there it goes. Okay, cool. That it won't find things. Um, it looked like you just woke up. What time is it there? Isn't it like 4 a.m. or something wild? 2 a.m.? 2:30. Oh man. Are you like going to work? Or did you just wake up and roll over and be like, you know what I need to do? Watch some Twitch streams. Which, like, no shade if that's where you're at. That's awesome. Okay, so a couple of interesting things going on here already. Um, there's a thing down here at the bottom that says this game uses voice recognition. Be sure your computer's microphone is set up before playing. You may need to restart the game if you change the microphone while it's running. Off tonight on night shift mode. And got a second job. Oh, what's the second job? Yeah, we've got some pretty strong content warnings for this one too. Text descriptions of domestic violence, emotional and physical abuse, violence against women, suicide ideation and attempt, and sexual content. So this is definitely a 18 plus stream for grown-ups. We're going to be dealing with some really adult content. Also bright lights and flickering. Um, so chef in a bar I used to go to. Oh, that's really cool. Are you a really good cook, Brendito? That's pretty exciting. I didn't know that about you. I am gonna try to remap our keys really quick. We cannot remap keys. Okay, that's fine. I use an ergonomic keyboard, and so my WASD is like a little slightly off from alignment, so I prefer to switch WASDs to ESDF, but that is okay. You're good. Nice. Okay. Hi, Tammy. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, for those coming in, we're going to be playing Last Call, which is the latest from Nina Freeman and Jake Jeffries. And Nina Freeman does a lot of very personal autobiographical games, and she's a fantastic designer. And this is an autobiographical game about her leaving a domestic violence situation. So all of the content warnings on this one, I might cry on stream. If that happens, it happens. So just a heads up to everybody. That is what we're doing tonight. Okay, let's do it. Let's dive in. We'll go ahead and get started. So far, I'm not getting any sound. So a little bit of ambient. Okay, maybe turn sound up for chat just a smidge, in case this ambient sound is in fact important. Okay, what do you see when you close your eyes? So we've got blue, yellow, or pink. What a cool choice. I'm slightly inclined to pink just because I love pink, but if chat has strong opinions, I am happy to let them pick. I love the visual effects on these too. Like when I close my, you know what's funny actually? When I close my eyes, I do think it actually is pink on the inside. That's super interesting. Okay, let's go with that. And then say the phrase you prefer. Okay. I'm ready. And the game detected that. Okay, cool. So, speech is an important input mechanic. Good to know. And I probably then need to be really careful about what I say as I'm trying to stream this. Uh, yeah, totally understand, Tammy. Um, So, okay, another hilarious thing, because I remap all WASDs to my home keys, there's a really strong chance that I might just start drifting at some point and um, not know what to do. Okay, so we're WASDing, we're looking around. We do not currently have a reticle to be able to click on things. The first thing I notice is starting in a nice little constrained room so we can get the feel of controls. Appreciate that from a design perspective. Um, the controls actually feel a smidge different than other games I'm used to. It feels at the same time sluggish and floaty, which is a really interesting combination. And the thing with Nina's games is that like she's such a good designer that anything like that, that's not just like an artifact of being an indie game, that is an intentional choice. So yeah, good to know. So this also is super cool. This like little curtain here where we can peek in and see boxes on fire and maybe a computer or something, but we cannot get in, and nor does interacting seem to do anything. So the pace of the walking feels very considered, is maybe the best way I would put it. Gotta have her hentai, I love it. So it's a really interesting thing. Knowing that this game is autobiographical and having it framed that way to me as a player certainly puts me in a headspace, because I, sort of know Nina, not like super well, but we've interacted and hung out and whatever, like gotten drinks and stuff. So it's like this interesting death of the author problem where I know her. There's like the parasocial relationship of this super intimate things from her previous work. There's like the version of her that's like going out to drink and play video games together, and like, sort of the acquaintance version. And then like I feel myself trying to map this game onto that person. But as an English major, anytime we were reading things that are autobiographical, there is always a distancing that happens, right? Like it's not like whatever we see here is exactly the one for one objective truth or what happens. This is like filtered through the lens of the feelings of the person who created it, and the person who created it is not like the protagonist character in this game. There's like this what we call the death of the author, right? Like once the thing is created, the character of the author is different from the author themselves, and that's a thing to kind of constantly keep in mind, that when I'm talking about the author in this sense, I'm talking about the author as depicted in the work, not the author as like the person I've gone out to drinks with. So that's even though there's a very natural impulse to want to like make those two things one and the same, they are actually different. So thing to keep in mind. Okay, so we have a nice little smooshy hand. Let's go ahead and smoosh. So I really like that effect, just the fire in the box sort of like sliding down almost into the contents of the box. What that does for me as a player analyzing this critically is immediately makes me feel that the fire is the contents of the box. It's not a box on fire. It is a box filled with fire, which is like a super interesting bit of meaning that was conveyed by one animation. Okay, so we got some video games, some mugs here, some wine. Okay. What's interesting is that I couldn't move my cursor to do anything with that box. So from that, I gathered that the intended experience was for me to come upon this box, click it. things slide down into their content. So cool. What a cool effect. Um, but there's no movement or anything I can do at this point. Like the game is very much asking me to observe this. Um, yeah, man. Okay, so the games in here too. Uh, it's super cool. They're definitely of an era and speaking to a certain class of gamerness. Um, it definitely feels like it imbues a lot of character. I'm gonna be extremely me and point out that I see Kingdom Hearts. What's so funny is my eye was drawn to the Souls games, Bloodborne and Demon Souls. So yes, we're both extremely on brand. I love it. Um, yeah. Okay. So again, all I had available as an option was a click, and then this automatically came out. I could barely see his face when we met in a dark, loud bar. Friends of friends, we were introduced, not a care in the world, just small talk. I drank a $6 glass of red wine and tried to hear what he said, but the music mostly drowned him out. Not that I cared. He was cute, and looking at his phone almost the whole time, which annoys me to shit now. Why didn't I notice it then? He didn't even care. But I followed him outside anyways. Maybe only one cigarette later, I was in love. Hello, Swell Mel. You have not missed very much at all. We are looking at the second box so far in this room. Okay, so interesting. So it's asking us to do the speaking mechanic again. I'm going to try to be really careful about what I say. So the okay, what it like let me step back for a minute. What this is conveying to me, we just looked at a written poem on a page, and the game has already asked us, what do you see when you close your eyes? And then it has given us that. So theoretically, this is what our character is seeing when we close our eyes. It's the the poem that we just read with a picture of Nina, and it's asking us to say one of the things that most resonates with us. Okay, so tell me more. Yeah, and the nice eye open and close animation to solidify that too. Cool. Okay. Yeah, very cool lighting in here. All right, lots of fire. Lots of fire. All right, let's try this next one. Yeah. And I sort of love this. So it's conveying a lot to me actually in its constraint of what I as a player can do. So there's kind of a thing with coming into a game like this with conventions. So we come into a game like this and it immediately makes me think of games like Gone Home or other walking simulators. Gone Home particularly because it's got the boxes and everything. And because of that, I'm coming into this game with the expectation that I'll be able to move my cursor and click around in the boxes and actually manipulate objects and stuff. But I can't do any of that. And because of that, as a player, it's giving me pause and kind of asking me, okay, in this moment, what are you like, what should I be doing? And it's like, well, the only thing I can do, which is look at what's in this box and think about that and reflect on it, which is kind of just amazing. Yeah. And then I do kind of love also, I'm noticing for the first time on this box, that after we interact with the box closes up and goes away. So there is definitely kind of this feeling of closure and putting things behind us. So that's kind of interesting. Okay. God, I love that fire effect. That's so cool. Just bras. I love it. So Nina in her games is really not afraid to sort of put herself out there around her sexuality in a way that feels so just real, I guess, and authentic. Like, it's not sort of in a sexualized look at me way. It's more like I am a human who experiences sexuality. Like, I'm a woman who wears bras, and I just super love and admire that. All right. I downloaded Line just to chat with him. We decided to meet up again at another bar. This one with an arcade and an infernal woman painted on the wall, tits out, genuinely lovely, presiding over us. We made more small talk, something about intramural volleyball and Pokemon Go. He looked at me in the eyes and said, since both of us have had trouble finding friends here, maybe we can be each other's friends. And I think, yes, and then maybe we can fuck. I was quarter feeding, eyes closed to his, eyes locked to his, like my life depended on it. Left my credit card at the bar and forgot it. Crush is a weak word for a powerful drug. Hi, Brett. Yes, so interesting. Uh, that's kind of cool. Interesting mechanical reflection of psychological stuff. Absolutely. This game is doing some really cool stuff mechanically so far. Nina came up with some great stuff for Tacoma because of her approach and frankness about human beings. Absolutely. I was completely blown away by Sybil. There may be an archive of a similar, I did a similar playthrough with Sybil for Scholars Play, and that game blew me away, and I still think is probably one of the games that has impacted my design philosophy as a designer, probably more than any other game. Um, yeah, she has a really incredible way of just imbuing feelings into unconventional mechanics. And we're seeing that now. So we had the reflection there, and now we have kind of a different picture of her. With actually, what's interesting is I think these are the same words that we had a chance to say last time. So last time we went with that option at the top. Uh, I'm kind of interested to explore these other options. I'm gonna say I'm listening. I'm listening. So, yeah. So what's interesting is I don't actually know this, but I have gleaned from the first 5 minutes of playing this that it probably doesn't matter which of those words I pick. There's something about that screen, and particularly I think the fact that it gave me the same choices twice right at the outset, that is communicating to me as a player that the the choice there is kind of a purely personal one. It actually sort of reminds me of the roleplay choices in With Those We Love Alive when we played that. There's almost something about the system communicating to you that your choice here will not have a systemic effect on the story, that puts me as a player more in a space of um, well, how do I want to answer this personally? I know it's not going to affect the game, so there's kind of a like a reassurance there that there's not some optimal choice I should be making, and instead then it focuses it on, well, what do I feel? So it's a super interesting move from sort of a choice design perspective. Okay. Uh, then crispy cookies, some random peanut butter and stuff with some clothes, maybe. It's kind of an interesting choice. I was so desperate to visit him and sit on his fucking couch while he played a game and ignored me. I was happy just being nearby. I didn't want to be annoying and take up all his free time. I apologized constantly for wanting to see him, but he said not to worry about it. He wanted to see me. I went home and took too many selfies just to find the perfect one for him. I sent one and he sent one back, full of that special low-light iPhone camera noise, and I rushed back to his place because I needed to be there on his mattress on the floor. I follow. It really does, Jeffrey. Yeah, there's so one of the things that Nina's really good at is making the interaction pair really well with your identification with the character. So in Civil, what I loved was that, that's sort of a game where there's a story playing out over voice chat while while you're clicking around like a, sort of a fake MMO situation, and there's kind of like a romance going on in voice chat. And I found that to be so delightful because none of the MMO stuff matters at all from sort of a systemic perspective. But that's also kind of how it feels when you're doing an online romance through an MMO. Like the game doesn't matter, it's just a vehicle for, the interactions that you're having socially. And from this, I'm getting a similar, just like, wow, what a great thing to make the player do, because it does like create this personal buy-in, um, and in a way I think that's a lot more poignant than just clicking on something, because when you click on a choice text, there's still like the screen is a pretty strong barrier, right, between me as a player and the inner game world. But there's something about speaking something out loud that feels like it's permeating that a little bit more. Yeah, I'm also not sure how much audio is coming through in on stream. There's really not very much audio, but just right there was kind of a sigh, like a female sigh. Um, I'm curious, what if none of these options are appropriate to you? I don't think I hear any audio. Yeah, like right now, there's not any audio happening. Um, yeah, Brett, it seems like "Tell Me More" is maybe the out for that. Um, because I also felt that like first in the very first little vignette that we got. Yeah, none of them really were appropriate to me. Oh, little Sailor Moon little figures. That's cute. We were out on a nice, normal date, sat down at a table with little folded napkins and a bread basket. They gave us our cocktails, and to my disbelief, he fingered me under the table. I thought, this must be normal. I've seen it in porn. Love should be full of surprises, and I was sick of Disney romance anyways. What is romance without the horror of humiliation? We got up to leave, and I thought about all of that for like 1 second and paid the tab. Um, I'm listening. The strangest part about that is sitting at the same side of the table on a date. I like that for Dito, actually. It depends on the context of the restaurant and lots of things, um, but yeah, sometimes I prefer sitting at a bar to a table for that exact reason. Um, yeah, Brett. So for that one, I also sort of felt like where previously "Tell Me More" had been a very reasonable default, "Tell Me More" took on a different context in that one, where I'm like, yeah, I don't know, this feels a little too intimate. I don't want to say "Tell Me More." So I'm listening uh, felt a little more appropriate as a fallback option. But what's interesting is that "I'm listening" did actually kind of very slightly push me over the bounds of what I was comfortable identifying with. So not sure if that's going to be a theme in this, but it certainly was very effective in that one particular thing. Yeah, and one thing that's interesting is these boxes contain a lot of things that don't feel appropriate for the room they're in, but they do a really good job of conveying just the banality and the sort of like personalness of it. Soon enough, I left the normal apartment where my last relationship unceremoniously ended, got carried away by feelings of a fresh start, shoved all my shit into literal trash bags, and dragged them down the block, mostly. I hate driving. Laid out on the carpet of this new place and hoped he'd lay there with me someday. We kissed in the rain a week later, and then he moved in. Simple as that. I follow. Speaking as a white dude, for sure, and also a white dude who came of age before porn was so prevalent in our online lives. Yeah, that is fair enough. I don't think I've ever sat on the same side of the table as someone I'm dating, unless we were meeting other people. Yeah, no, I don't know. It can be like cuddly, so especially like at a show or something. Like, I don't know, it's nice. Sometimes you just want to be a little cuddly. I'm also a person though that touch is one of my love languages for sure. So I'm also like pretty like touchy with people that I'm with. So yeah, more PlayStation. We went on like that for a while, sucking each other's faces around various public fire pits and having lots of sex without thinking. Related enough over childhood trauma to get closer. Felt like we grew up similarly troubled, similarly accomplished. Yes, I thought, horny and troubled. Exactly what I am and what I need. He said, I love you. I'm listening. Yeah, sometimes, Brett, I also prefer eye contact to touch. So my two love languages are actually quality time and physical affection. So it sort of depends on which meter is lower for me. Uh, Man, there is something just so personal about looking at these really like photorealistic images of somebody's like physical things, their toothpaste and stuff. These are super cute. He said, I love you. He said it. He said it. I said it. Of course I said it. Again and again, like I stood between two mirrors facing each other. Tell me more. Yeah, I was also thinking that, Brett. Okay, and so that kind of pulled back the curtain on the bedroom stuff, which I guess is going to be the sort of gating mechanism. Sadly, there's been a pandemic on, and I haven't gotten to see her and Jake since they moved here. Okay, so sad music has started. I really, the WASD thing is throwing me off so much. I don't know, I was not expecting how much of an impact that has on me, but it really does. Okay, we got some anime stuff. I have those little Yoshis. Okay, PlayStation 2. Yeah, so what's interesting too is there's so much sort of nerd paraphernalia in the boxes that that was a really interesting reaction there for me to be like, oh, that could be my box. Like that was a very like reasonable box for me to have. Um, Yeah, anime stuff in a sushi roll thing. Yeah, so it's it's kind of interesting because I guess for a gamer audience, there's potentially even more identification with that stuff than I think about. Oh, cool stuff with the music getting a little bit more dissonant as we go through. He left his job with big dreams and a fresh haircut, no plans to pay rent. He said I was hot again and again, and he said I love you. He said it. God, I was happy. Yeah, I'm starting to feel a lot of like tension. There's like a lot of dramatic tension in this moment where I'm like, ooh, I know where this is going. Um, yeah, I know. Yeah, so I actually mentioned at the start of stream, Brett, that there's like a little bit of a weird tension for me playing this game, trying to kind of like keep death of the author like as front and center as possible, and not try to be like this is literally Nina, the person I know, because it is and it's autobiographical and she's expressed as much. But there's kind of always the like, you know, the filtering through artistic expression and all of that stuff. So so yeah, it's such an interesting tension. I mean, I also feel this playing other games by friends of mine that are like super personal. Like I feel this playing Kara Stone's games as well, where I'm just kind of like, oh. Um, and so yeah, what's interesting is I think because of that, it feels really deeply personal, like seeing her things, right? Like it's just so personal. Yep, it's a whole thing. Yeah, exactly. Hi, Kineticorn. The game is good. She's in a relationship, and he said I love you, but he kind of seems not so interested so far. And this kind of dissonant music has kicked up, and it's yeah. I'm finding it difficult to relate. I wonder if the act of those responses is making it more relatable to you. That's a really interesting thing, Jeffrey. I also wonder, you know, because I think there are a lot of relationship dynamics that might be gendered. So I wonder also if that might be part of it. Uh, so I don't know. It's interesting for me because like this is a relationship I never would have gotten into because I am, for better or worse, a person who uh, dates. I feel people's attraction through them pursuing me. So a guy being uninterested in a first conversation, like we would not have gotten past that first conversation. So so it is kind of like I do not relate to the beginning of that story, but what's weird is that I'm starting to relate more and more as we are going through. So I do wonder if the, you know, speaking aloud verbally has something to do with it. So I'm all saying I'm finding it very relatable. What I am finding relatable are the expectations as the relationship is progressing, and she like wants something so badly to be true that she's kind of like forcing it to be true. I'm relating to that part kind of strongly. Our romance had highs and lows that left me breathless and addicted. I wanted to make him happy. I paid for his cigarettes. I asked him to never forget to kiss me. All we ate were pizza rolls for a while, living off frozen food and booze. I got us takeout sometimes. We'd unroll the pull-out couch and share warm biscuits and cheer wine on the weekends. But it didn't seem to matter. He stopped kissing me in the morning. I'm finding it relatable, however, I'm basing a lot of it on empathy and connecting it to other stories. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, tell me more. Okay, I do just want to point out that the kitchen had a ton of like bathroom stuff, and now the bedroom has a ton of kitchen stuff. So, um, that seems strange, but also possibly intentional. He said the last time he told me he loved me feels like months ago now. Oh, the last time he told me he loved me feels like months ago now. And I told him that, but he said I'm wrong, so I must be. I follow. I really like that Sailor Moon doll. I ask him to tell me I love you again. I need it. I really need it. He won't, and I hate myself for it. Shouldn't I just trust him? I get mad and ask when he'll start paying rent again, and I hate myself. Yeah, I am also like starting to feel some really deep dramatic tension right now. uh, I follow. Oh my gosh, it's so creepy. So there's like a slight whispering. I'm gonna turn up the game audio just a little bit. There's a very slight whispering, but it is not audible even when it's something about secrets. Ooh, okay. There's a lot of mood going on, a lot of atmosphere. I have a question. Is the revelation of these boxes independent of the order in which you open them? That relies on a second deliberate playthrough. Yeah, I am not sure. I mean, it feels like the rooms are pretty matched. I would suspect probably like what it feels like is probably the contents are the same, but the note that appears is fairly sequential. And this is the only one we can interact with, so okay. It is not a bird sound, it is a whispering. Okay. I hate myself. And on a night no one celebrates, I open the skylight and try to climb out, and he pulls me back in, and he hits me. He hits me again, and hits me again. Oof. Okay. Okay. The impact lands me on the couch, and he chokes me until I can't breathe. I remember thinking it's weird how quiet screaming sounds when you might die. I can't scream if you can't breathe. I'm weak, but when I ran out of breath, I tore his hands off my throat. Or maybe he chose to stop. Either way, I lived. Oof, okay. Our choices are different. I believe you. Oof. Okay. We're gonna take a moment, drink some water. Yeah, that was a lot. Okay. Wow. And now they're all on fire. Yeah, like this is absolutely one of those moments where I think like knowing the person too, it just yeah, it's a lot. Uh, okay, now I'm like clicking on each box like, oh god, please don't let there be a note in here. And I loved again. Believe it or fucking not, I loved again. I got on my knees in the morning and hunched over. I cried and begged him to stay. When he'd hit me, he told me I'd die alone. I believed it and begged him to stay. He said okay and wiped my tears away, and hugged me and told me it'd be okay. And he touched the bruises on my neck and told me he'd stay. Ugh, that's horrible. I believe you. I wore a soft gray scarf around my neck. The next day I wore a red scarf, and another next day I wore a black scarf with tiny stars on it like the other night around my neck, which was hidden by scarves. I understand. So, yeah, super interesting. There's a lot more light in the room than there was. Um, and there's a window opening. And the music actually has kind of taken a little bit more hopeful of a turn, which feels a little strange for the moment we're in right now. But it does feel good each time we clear out one of these boxes. Yeah, Brett, absolutely. I hear you so much. Like, it's so strange because I'm working on a very personal game right now, but it's personal like through the veil of fiction. And so it's like that veil of fiction gives you so much latitude to play with. And I think, you know, naturally this is fictional in a way, but there's so much of the creator in it that it's a really different kind of exposure. The room has a lot of fiery boxes, it sure does. And each time one clears out, it feels so good. I'd worry about it as a fire hazard. Well, so as we were saying, the fire is the contents of the box. Like if you watch when we click on it, the fire like swoops down into the content. So yeah, metaphorical fire for sure. I was too scared to bring it up, that he'd hit and choked me. I slept next to him, but not with him. I didn't have nightmares, and not any dreams. I bought him more cigarettes, and we played video games near each other. Time went by slow. I tried not to think about it. I see you. Metaphorical fire can absolutely be a hazard. That is so true. So true. Shoes. Some cute ones. I stole some of the cigarettes I bought him and walked to work and smoked only one. I listened to the song over and over. It said, "This isn't what I deserve. I want a love that's pure. Was this the permission I needed to hope for something more?" I cried until I couldn't see the sidewalk. Exactly that. I know exactly what you mean. I'm not enough of a creator to be able to create the fiction that encodes the meaning I want. I bet you could, Brett. Like, you're a pretty incredible writer, and obviously like a really amazing systems thinker. But not like the song is fire, more like the flames on the side of my face. Yeah. I understand. Yeah, that first line gets me. I stole some of the cigarettes I bought him. Like, ugh. The word choice in these little vignettes is, yeah, so good at poignantly conveying the emotional state. Immersion. Yeah, so I do actually kind of appreciate the like bit of levity that's thrown in with the like cute little chibi things in these boxes. Like it is kind of what feels a little bit like a dissonant contrast between like the actual content of the letters, but also it is kind of like a lightning, which I think I kind of desperately need. So I'm really grateful for that. I sat on the couch behind his back, Googling, is it normal for a boyfriend to stop saying I love you? I was surprised at the volume of results, but validated that I wasn't alone, and validated that there was no straight answer. There are some questions Google can't answer, but where else could I turn? The shame of it kept me silent. Tammy, I am here if you want to debrief after the chat. I completely understand. I understand. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Okay, so we. Okay. I don't. Yeah. The window closed, it got really dark, and we're pointed to one particular box. Okay, well, we're about to get a puppy interruption, which I think is maybe really good right this moment. I asked him to finally help with the rent. Okay, yeah. Thanks, puppy. Okay. You're hardcore sipping your martini right now, Brett. Yeah, I am hitting this kombucha super hard. Okay. I asked him to finally help with rent. I'm not fucking rich, you know that. I thought we understood each other. He punched the wall next to my head and left a hole. Yes, Farah is very much a soupy. I believe you. I believe you. Yeah, I am scared for where this is going. Yeah, man. So, yeah, what's interesting is that one felt like a tonal shift for me a little bit. On the one hand, the violence is escalating, but on the other hand, the healing is so much more visceral from it. Um, yeah, actually showing the whole that's pretty intense. I'm just gonna turn down audio a smidge. Yeah, it's a lot. Okay. I go to therapy. I learn about anxious, avoidant, insecure people. I try to label myself and him. And I go home and tell him what I learned. And he tells me I worry too much. Nothing is wrong. Stop bringing it up. I say, you told me I'd die alone. And he turns to me, I never said that. I hear you. I cry every time I take a shower because it's a good time to think. I try to talk to him about it, and he tells me it's not a good time. Hi, till Seth do us part. It's been a long time. How are you, Seth? I understand. You joined us on a really, really heavy stream. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I start to wonder why I need so much attention and can't remember the last time we kissed. He won't kiss me when we have sex. Oh no, I'm sorry, Brett. I understand. It'll give us another shot really quick. Oh, it will not give us another shot really quick. I'm sorry. Yeah, these books don't have words on them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, what's super interesting as I'm playing this game too, it's like there are such intense dark moments that I feel myself like a little bit on edge now each time I open one of these to read it, which is kind of literally the point, I guess. But like, I mean, the really bad ones with physical violence feel like they're signaled really, excuse me, really strongly. But even still, there's like a little bit each time I open one of these of apprehension. Um, yeah, I can't be with him, but I can't not be with him. All of my thoughts are contradictory these days. He tells me to figure it out on my own time. So I sit in the bathroom and clench a sealed bottle of pills by the cap in my mouth. I don't take them, but I do think about it. I believe you. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Um, the taco obliquely has made me think of times I've made games about trauma and having long thoughts about how much to put in and how much to leave oblique or abstract. Yep. Yeah, I completely understand that, Tammy. Okay. What was it about that last night? Out at a show, anxious as hell, I ask him to stay close. He wanders into the crowd, flaming blue lights. Looks like water streaming from my shower head. Everyone is dancing and drinking. I'm perfectly still. No more crying in the shower. I see you. Oh, that's such a cool effect. Yeah, the sort of like obvious brightening of the room there. So I couldn't move the mouse, which means that like it held my focus basically just on the wall as the room got a little bit brighter. Okay, let's do this one in the closet. Get home, he's trashed. I'm mad. He ditched me. Like that time he drove drunk and I screamed for him to stop, pull over. And he did, and I got out and stood in the highway watching him skid off into the dark. Like then, he curses me out tonight. He cracks my head against the corner of our hallway. He backhands me, but I barely notice. My head hurts. He grabs my neck again, and something in the deepest pit of my stomach lurches up through my fingertips, and I tear his hands off my neck. Like footage of rotten fruit sped up, the moldy crust splitting skin in the shape of a knife. He whirls in a rage and yells something about a knife. I don't remember my feet touching the ground. They were bare, and I ran out of there with nothing except my long t-shirt and underwear. I believe you. Yeah, it is interesting because the the room changed and everything. But that one was not one that was sort of frozen. Like it has kind of just become a normal box situation now. Which yeah, I'd never ran barefoot in a panic. It was 4 a.m. and an old janitor I'd never seen before was closing up at the neighborhood bar. I slapped the window until he saw me. He gave me a booth, typical red leather and orange lighting, very Portland. I shook like a blender and couldn't speak. He called the cops. They shined lights in my face and took photos of my bruises. He drove me down the block back home. Cops said, "You have a choice to make. Do you want us to take him in, or do you want to be with him?" I stood at the front door and felt my whole body pause. I see you. police. Yeah, yeah. I picture myself inside the apartment, dusky, dead. The cops are slow motion in front of me. My heart is beating so fast, the pressure, the sweat, and bruises swelling on my skin. Fuck them for making me choose, for putting it all on me. I let them take him. Him. Fuck all of them. I'm with you. Ooh, thank God for cute little bears and boxes that just fold up and go away. Finally, I'm alone, surrounded by chunks of a busted table, broken vase, hole in the wall. I lay curled up in a corner of my bed, too weak to grab the covers. I didn't sleep. I watched the sunrise through the broken blinds, and I knew it was a morning to choose for myself, and I never saw him again. I'm with you. Yeah. Yeah. I can't move right now, but clicking did cause the phase out. I patched up the hole, and that's the end. Man. So yeah, go follow Nina on Twitch and support her coffee. Goodness gracious. Um, yeah, let me find her Twitch handle. I think she's Nina Says So. I'm gonna log off and have a good cry now. Yeah, I'm gonna let this sit for a moment. Thank you so much for being here, Brett. I really appreciate it. I super appreciate everybody going through this this with us. If any of y'all are not following or subscribed and are lurking, I would super appreciate a follow or a sub. Yeah, this game is based on the designer's lived experience. If you or a loved one are experiencing domestic violence, please seek help. And there's a list of resources. Okay. So yeah, that it definitely was a lot. Okay, to do a little bit of reflection on that. Yeah, I mean, I think what she was doing there in terms of all of the various metaphorical representations of things, you know, the just kind of mood and the sense of dread that like really set in, and then the normalization of it, yeah, kind of heartbreaking. Yeah, uh, that's definitely a game that I think I'm gonna have to sit and process a bit. Sybil was the same way. If you have not played any of Nina Freeman's other games, this is kind of her MO, to put like really personal experience conveyed through mechanics. And so yeah, so Sybil was kind of about the developing and ending of a romance in an online MMO situation, and how do you do it is about her experience with two dolls trying to figure out how sex works as a kid. Uh, so yeah, both really incredible games. Definitely check out. Yeah, absolutely. Having those notes permeate her day to day things. Yeah, yeah. It's I have lots of thoughts about this one. I don't think this Twitch chat is the place for me to talk about it. Totally fair. Yeah, totally understand. Um, gosh, yeah. Um, yeah, there's a lot there. So this was just as heavy as I thought it would be. I think in a lot of ways the fact that it's not depicted um, makes it stronger and more visceral, uh, because the imagination is a powerful thing, and yeah, it's also um, just so weird with somebody that you know that uh, that like it just yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, I'm really glad that we played that. I'm really glad we played it together. Yeah, I appreciate you all just kind of being here and holding space for that. Um, I'm gonna take like a quick five, refill my drink, hang out for a minute, and then I would love to just like after like a little 5 minute break, have a little bit of a reset, and let's just do like a chill, just chatting and catch up on everybody's day and stuff. So, um, yeah, I'll be back in just a minute. Thank you so much, chat.